In this video, we're going to explore one of the items that was for my viewers in one of my videos. And you could see here the question was, alright, someone's trying to migrate his code or his or her code, and can you help me with below code? Basically what he wants to do is he wants to migrate it from his previous Chart.JS version 2.x, probably 2.9. And he wants to now migrate it to the latest version of Chart.js, which is Chart.js 3. Etc. Whatever it is right now, right? I know it's now 3.3 if I'm not mistaken. However, remember Chart.js 3 is not backward compatible with Chart.js 2. This means that if you have a chart in Chart.js 2, you have to migrate it with certain adjustments. Alright? So I have the entire code here, and then I guess we could remove this one here. That's should be Chartjs. So I have the code here, and we put it in here. And basically what I did was I just get a basic CSS here, put in the canvas, get here the default chart, and then what I did was I took and copied his code here. So once you work on that, you will see there is here a default tooltip. Although this tooltip is definitely not this one here, because there are some mistakes already in here. If I save this and refresh, you will see here it's exactly the same. Meaning there is some adjustments that he needs to do, and some parts are not correct. So let's go here, and let's see if I can get the migration immediately. Migration. Oh, there we are. Migration guide. All right. So the first thing I saw here immediately is the tooltips. And the tooltip should not be called tooltip, but also the structure of this. If you watch one of my videos where you have now the plugins, alright, so what they did was they have a plugin now, they call it a plugin, and this plugins, this namespace of plugins is now specifically for title, tooltip, and of course for the legend. Meaning that if you have it like this, which is the previous way, is not possible because they moved that. So they migrated it to plugins. So once we do plugins column, and then we do here curly braces, and we're going to put in here the curly braces. We might have something, but we have to double check here because tooltips with an S is probably a mistake as well. So let's go back here. You can see here we have still everything. Alright, that's fine. But this here, let's double check here because I know this is incorrect. So let's go back here and we're going to look here. We type in tooltips. So if we type in tooltips with an S, I see here tooltip, and then it says chart tooltips is defined in chart default plugin. Alright, that's correct. That's what we have. And then what is the namespace? Alright, pay attention here. Options. We are in the options. Plugins. Yes, we are in the plugins. We just added it. However, we have here tooltip without the S. So I'm surprised. Where did you get the S? I'm not sure if it's from the previous one. Maybe it's from Chart.js 2. However, let's save that. And once you do that, now what happens is the tooltip doesn't respond anymore. The reason why it doesn't respond is simply this. We have the code. So, yeah, sorry, I just had to get a sip of water. However, the reason why it doesn't respond is we have to code it now correctly. Basically, we did here our job, we copied the text, and we get an error. Now is the question, where is the error here? Because if we were open up here our developer tab, you will see here a lot of information. Alright, let's put that into a normal thing. Let's refresh it one more time. Once we click on it, you can see here it hovers over and instantly gets all problems. Alright. So we're going to look here. This is the callbacks, and the callbacks is fine. If we check out the callbacks here, let's search for the callbacks. Where are you? Callbacks, legend callbacks, tooltip callbacks. All right. Oh, we're still in the tooltip, so it's probably in here. So we see here callbacks. So this is correct. So the callbacks here, basically what it does is it will create a function. You make a function, and this function consists multiple values of or multiple calculations. So once it calculates this, it will call back or return the value here. But so basically it's a function within a function or multiple items within. Alright, so we have here this. So let's go down here somewhere to the callback, sort callback, filter callback, tooltip callback. Alright, we call it callbacks with a letter S. So callbacks here is correct. So here we have the label, alright. This label here basically indicates the following here. The label will have the tooltip item object return text to render for an individual item of the tooltip. Meaning here, we will get specific items here, or text in this case. So we have this label, but this label is a function, and this function consists of two items, the tooltip item and the data point. Alright, so now we have to look here. We're going to dig down this one here, because this is the tooltip item when you hover over it, basically. Once you hover over this one, you should see, that's why you can see here right now, we're starting to activate something. We hover over the tooltip item. This is the array. Well, if we are talking about index number, index 0, so this is the array index 0, and which is red. Alright, and I'm going to show you later on more about it. Alright, so what we're going to do here now, you can see here the following text he has, or he or she, the person has. Data sets. Alright, so you can check here. We go here from data sets, and then it will get here the tooltip item, whatever it is, and then the data set index. Alright, so you can see here what's the error. You cannot read the property of data sets of undefined. So the first thing here, what I realized, and after I tested myself, we need to get this. Although I was assuming that this would be already a given fact, main reason is because we're already in here. However, for some reason we're not, or for some reason it doesn't. So we're going to get this one. So basically what we're saying here, the variable of the label, or which the constant of the label, whatever you want, equals my chart, and then we go to data, and then to data sets. And then what we want is data sets, and then we want the label, or the labels, as you can see here. So we have the tooltip item, and then the data set index, and then we get the labels. Well, in my case, if I really look carefully at this, I assume the person wants only one item here. It is the labels. So let's double check here where we're going here. So you can see here, we go to data sets, and then we're looking here for labels, but there's no labels. There's one here called label. However, that's what you don't want. And the reason why you don't want that, of course, is when you hover over it, you want to get, for example, the label or the labels, one of the label in the labels. I hope that's clear. So within that array of labels, you want one element, which would be, for example, blue, yellow, green, etc., etc. All right. So where are we then exactly? Is this the place to be? No, this is the place to be. So we go here for my chart data labels. This would mean that this here by default is incorrect, because it will refer to somewhere where we have no value existing. So we're going to remove all of this, and we go here now to labels. Alright, so we have this, now we have these two correctly. Then we can save it, and if we would refresh here, we still have errors. We're not done yet. Or, well, we have not really errors, but we have an undefined value here. Alright, so well, let's try to figure out this. What I'm going to do here is, and this is what you can do as well, if you have the same values here that you got from the person here who wrote the highlighted content, or the comment here. Yes, you can find this one. This is the introduction to Chart.js 3. So it says here, alright, we need to get the number here. How do we define this? Well, let's assume this one here. If we hover over it, we should get a certain value, and that value should be becoming more clear. Because right now we do have, it does read it, so it means we're one step closer. So the tooltip item, well, let's say tooltip item and then the index. Well, let's try. We just put in here 0 for the labels, and then the index would be 0 as well. Let's see what happens. If we save this and refresh, now we get an item here, alright? So we get a value which is red. However, we put in 0, 0, and it's defined always as red. So let's look here. Where are we then? So we're in dataset and then labels. We could do here a value. Let's put in here another value. Oh, but let me do this to make sure that we have this. I will just want to comment this out and copy this one below, so we are always able to figure out these items. So we did 0, 0. What happens if we do 0.1? Where we get the blue color now? Undefined, undefined? No. Alright. So this is not possible. So what if we do 0 over 1.1, refresh here, Here we get as well undefined. And then what if we do 1.0? We get blue, which is correct because remember we are in the array. And with the array, the second value or second element in the array is index number 1. This is index 0. Alright? So this basically is somehow redundant. And the reason why it's redundant is because you have only one line here in this case, or one set of data. If we would have multiple sets of data, we can leave this one, but it must be always by default on 0. Alright, so let's save this for now, refresh, or what we're going to do now is to decipher or decode this one. Let's put in here the console log where we can just figure out what is this exactly. So we say here console.log, then we're going to get the data points. Let's try it here, and then here we get the other one. Let's see if we return these values here, what do we get? Save this, and then we can figure out this more better. So once we refresh here, and as you hover over, you can see here we get here undefined. All right, fair enough. And then we have here this undefined. That is fine. That's the data is undefined. The tooltip equals whatever it is. Let's see here. What happens? The tooltip shows all the values here. If you go in here, well, as you can see, it goes quite fast because it's on a hover effect. Fair enough. I don't mind that. This is quite good information because now if you click on this, you will start to see deeper values here. This is very, very important to understand. So we have here, let's go back here what we have. We have the index here, and then we have the tooltip index, all right? And this is part of these two data points here. Remember that. Oh, wait, let me put it here below so you won't get confused. This is together here. So here we need to figure out, can we get the tooltip item and can we get the index number instead of hard coding it, what we have here. So we see this here. So let's hover over the red one. All right, I hover over it. We jump on here. We can see here now label red. Fair enough. Raw 12. And then we can see here data index. Data index is 0. And what we can see here, data index is 0. All right, that's fine. Oh, well, maybe we can click on this to find something here. There's a lot of information here. I will close this one. I don't want the chart. I want the data set. That's probably more interesting for us. The data set. Oh, well, data set's not necessary as well. I think we can go probably in here. The element. Let's see what we can find here in the element. Let me see here the options. All right, where we go now? We go in the options here. All right, we cannot find much here. Border width. All right. Let's go to the parsed. Go to the proto, go to the object. All right, there's anything where we can find. The only place where we'll be probably interested in is in these two places, the data set and the chart index. So let's go to the chart index here. Or sorry, is that the chart index? Chart data index. Because we see here 0. So if we would hover here, then we get another number. Well, all right, so I'm hovering once, and then you can see here what we will get. Oh, sorry, I don't want this. Let's go back to the source. Let me just open up the developer tab again. All right. Oh, then go back here to your object. Then we can see here, the moment we hit on blue, we were going to data index 1. So let's go to yellow and expect data index number 2. If that is correct, we are very close to what we need. So let's go in here. Data index number 2. So I assume that this will be our magic number here. So we're going to change this. And this was the most important. It was the tooltip item. We can now adjust this to data index. So let's see that. Now you need to get the 0. By default, it is always 0. Here in our case, because we only have one data set. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to red first. I go scroll down. So because we are hovering, we see multiple times being triggered. Go back here. You can see data index 0, and then you have the data set index 0. Most likely it's this one. Then we go back here. Same story. There's here data index 0 again. While a data index is 1. So this one here, data set index, is the one we will be needing. Let's save that for now. Refresh and see what's going on now. What we have to do here is Let's comment this out for a while, see if this all works, and see if we get now our response. Alright, we don't get a response yet. And the reason why is probably here we need still this one. So what I'm going to do is, let's comment this out for now, and comment this one out, and get the return label, just only to show the label. Save that. Alright, here, no, alright, doesn't work yet, so fair enough. Let's see, data index is not defined. Data index is not defined. Yeah, alright, so that means that here we might have a certain issue. Maybe it's the tooltip item that we need. So what I'm going to do here is, we're going back here, copy this, put that in here. Alright, that's apparently what we need, the tooltip, sorry. We're going to look for the tooltip item. So I'm going to check here, and I would like to know then, can we find this? Refresh, data tooltip. Then we have here the chart index. Let's search for our data tooltip. Or any tooltip. Tooltip. Do we have a data tooltip? Let's double check what we have. A tooltip item, sorry, that's the one we need. Tooltip item. I cannot find any. However, in this case, the tooltip item is the one we do need. Alright, we're very close now to the item here, so what's next? This one here. So this tooltip item by default would mean that it is correct. So what about this here? So what's going on here? Do we have any issue here with the data? Well, this one was here, so this might be already fine. Then what about the data tooltip here? Because here what we have is here the data sets. What I assume what he wants here is to get the exact value here, which is the number value, which is whatever the value would be of this one. Let's say the yellow would be number 3. Alright? So what we can do here, I'm going to do again the return value. We can put this back, remove this label, save that. I'm going to refresh, and let's see here. We have this undefined. What is the undefined? Is the console data. Fair enough. So what we need to do here, let's open up again. Let's move over here the orange again. And then what we need to do is here looking for, oh, sorry. I need to make sure I don't press that. What we're looking for, and that's again my mistake, I need to press on this. Alright. What we're looking for is the value here. The formatted value, the data index, is number 5 on orange. Is that correct? No, that's the array. Alright, so what we need to do is to find the value here. Let's double check. What is the value? We see the parse value. What would be the value here? Most likely it's number 3. So I see the formatted value number 3, raw number 3. Alright. Can we find here the proper item here, the data set? Let's click on chart. What do we have? Don't have anything on the chart. On the data set, I expect it here. Let's double check here. We go to data, data sets, alright, and then data. So your data, data sets, then data. Then the data here is the data array. And the data array, or just the data, is basically the array. So this might be instead of index, only data. Let's double check. To save that, refresh. Alright, so that doesn't work, and I noticed that we have maybe a tiny issue here. Did we hard-coded anything here? Tooltip. Red. Undefined. Fair enough, we need to double check here 2 items. Data index. If we are orange, we are on data index, am I correct? Yes. So the data index is fine. So here, the data set should be data index. Let's try it one more time. I didn't know what happened. Alright, fair enough. The color works again. Then here, most likely here, I expect this as well. What I want to do here, first of all, I want to copy this. Put this in here. Put a comment. And then in here, we're going to search for it as well. Let's figure it out. Here, this might be that we're going to use here the data index. because we want to go to the data sets. Then we have to double check here or the data, and this might be this one. So let's try this first. I'm going to put in this here. Refresh and see what happens. Alright, there we are. Now we have it exactly copied here. Do we need to adjust this as well? Let's save that and see. There we are. That doesn't work because we need to have the data set index. So let's search what's the data set index. So go to data sets, and then data sets index. I refresh here and I hover over. Then we go to here to data set, and then we have the data set index is 0. Alright. The reason why it's 0 is because we are still on the first data set basically. So this is data set number 0. Remember, this is 0 because here is the index 0. So that's basically what we need to do. And once we have this now, and I assume this should be all correct, we can remove this. We have basically all the items. If we refresh here, we have this undefined item here of the data. So the question is this data maybe not the data index here? And let's open up this developer tab. We say here, if we go on here, we get this error. Alright, fair enough. If we get the error here, of course we get the error, we don't have this. Refresh. Still undefined. So what is exactly this part trying to extract? It would be this here, most likely. Data index, data set index. I'll just try this to see if this would be any point of value. It's undefined. Alright, and the reason why it's undefined is basically this one is set on 0. Maybe it doesn't even know what exactly we're trying to get. Maybe it's trying to get the value here. If we try this, refresh, doesn't work as well, so I'm not able to identify this item here. However, let's put that back to data. Maybe it might be this here. Once we refresh here, I'm not able to find the true value of it, but we can get here, as you can see here, once we hover over orange, we get the orange value, and then we also get the data index. You can see here immediately you get all the data indexes number 5, data set index is 0, the formatted value is number 3. Is that correct? If we did orange, yes, orange is 3, parse, raw, etc, 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 everything here is fine. So this is basically how you can check on it, to double check how to migrate it, to understand the migration. There's some of the basics, and then of course here. Right now I honestly cannot figure out what is this exactly. However, the item is working again, and here you would say here, yes, it works, and then you would see here we have some additional adjustments, and sorry, I guess traffic here. We have that. Oh, yes, it works. I guess this doesn't work. Sorry. We have the label. Did I do something? Did I break something? Let's double check again. I didn't. I did adjust something without my knowledge. Data set index, and this would be the item. Let's double check. Alright, so it had some confusion here, but apparently this was our troublemaker here. Don't do this. Sorry, I have to remove this one here. Then there we are. So now we have this, and we should probably have here now. Yes, it works. This will do, and save. Yes, it works. Of course it works, because now we are putting here a string tag. So basically here the string tag, we get the value, then we get the label. And so basically we have here the default settings, and what you can do is always with the console log try to show or search for this value so you can find it. And this is basically how you can do it. It took some time, and because it's quite complicated, because you're working with the canvas, and the canvas has so many multiple dependencies you figure out. But once you understand how you can find it in the console log, you can easily pinpoint the item you want. So I hope this helps, and this should clarify as well the question from one of our viewers here of Tutor Plus. Well, so try to watch this video and focus on and try to understand what I did here. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you enjoy this video, you probably will enjoy this one as well. And if you're interested in Chart.js, check out in the description box the link directing to my Chart.js course where you can learn everything about Chart.js. And finally, of course, make sure you subscribe to my channel.